Welcome to One, the mini podcast project. I'm your host, Anthony Cruz, and today is December 20th, 2017. Happy holiday, happy holiday, may the merry bells keep ringing. Happy holidays to you. A little cheery spirit to kind of kick off the podcast. Yeah, man, we're coming up on Christmas. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm broke. The world is broke. I tell you, you try to say it's all about the feelings and all about the camaraderie and the love for your family and all that stuff, and it doesn't matter. But it fucking does. It always does. You end up spending way more than you want to. And you try to get even the people that you're not, that close with. You always, for a few that you might have to, you want to get them a little something. And it may not be extravagant, a lot of money, but $5 here, $3 there, $10 here. That shit starts to add up, and next thing you know, you're seeking handouts by New Year's. So that's where we at with the holidays. It's creeping up really fast. I can't believe how fast this year's coming to an end. I can't even believe how fast we got the holidays. I mean, just like a month ago, I'm like, well, I got enough time. I'll do my last minute shopping like in like a day or so, and then next thing you know, a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, and you're like, holy crap, I got to do my last minute shopping like right now. And every year we keep telling ourselves, oh, we'll do it online. Because you have that option now. You can do all your Christmas shopping online. And by the time you decide that you're going to do it, you opt not to do it because by the time you order it and get it, it'll be after Christmas and it ruins it all for everybody. And then you hate Christmas, and then those people who are expecting a gift on Christmas hates Christmas too, and then you just ruin Christmas for a lot of people. So yeah, no. But anyway, that's not what this podcast was about. It wasn't about talking about Christmas coming up, even though it should be, and it would make sense. I do like I normally do each year, where I go and I do like a holiday run of all these holiday movies from beginning with Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas. Like every day I try to watch 1 or 2 different holiday movies a night. This year didn't quite work out that way, so I had to play catch up on some weekends, but for the most part I got through all of it. So yeah, let's talk. Okay, so I had to take a quick commercial break. I had to answer a phone call, so I'm back. Sorry about that, but let's get into the podcast. But before I do, let me read some advertisements, some fake advertisements for you. Let's see who we got this week. Savako Care. This holiday, why give your loved ones the same boring gifts you give them every year? Socks and wallets are the gifts of yesteryear. Why not show them that you can think outside the box and pit them with the gift they never knew they wanted? Give them Savako Care. Savako Care is the armpit grooming kit for today's modern family. Each Savako Care gift set comes with the finest brushes, trimmers, hair health products. It even includes hair dyeing solutions in up to 6 different fluorescent colors. Colors such as lime green, hot pink, Prince purple, and many, many more. Choose one color or dye a rainbow of colors that suits your personality. The possibilities are endless. If you order now using the promo code MINIPOD, you'll receive a 10% discount and additional 4 colors. Be a hit with your pit and get your Savako Care today. Yeah, man, Savako Care, man. You just lift that armpit up, man. You just get that colors in there, groom it, man. Do a goatee in your armpit, man. Why not? Or maybe you go bald. I don't know. Maybe get a armpit toupee and you put that underneath there, and you can dye it whatever you want. Okay. Who else we got? Okay. Ever wonder why your life is going so well that you feel like karma will catch up to you? Well, why not preempt the inevitable fate and subscribe to Troll for You? Now you can bring balance to your life by hiring a professionally trained troll agent. Troll agents practice in the most effective ways to kick you when you're down, sour your achievements, piss on your parade, and rain on your day. You've got promising idea? Troll for You agents can expertly tell you that it sucks. Got a new love interest? They'll convince you that they won't live up to your lowest expectations. Damn. Going for that new job? You won't qualify. Oh man, they're really serious about this trophy. Trophy is a global. No, I'm sorry. Troll for You is global. If the local trolls are not for you, then try our international trolls. Available in any language or terrible accent. Don't limit yourself. Get 2 for that tag team trolling. Tiers are a phone call away. Get a troll for your family and for your friends. Or troll that coworker you hate. No option is off the table. If you call today and order your troll at 1-800-666-TROL, that's troll. That's 1-800-666-TROLL. 1L. Or visit trollforyou.com. Use the promo code FMyLife for an additional 20% increase. So if you use the promo code, you get a 20% increase. All right, Troll for You, we got you. All right, so that's Troll for You. So Vaco can Troll for You. All right, so I'll throw it out there for anybody who's listening. For my one listener, if you have any advertisement, want me to read any advertisements, just send them my way, and I'll do it. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tone and Stereo. You can send me an email at Anthony.Cruz@artgraphicsinc.com. And send in your ideas. So anyway, let's get into the podcast. So what was the biggest thing that's been happening besides all the crap that's been happening in Hollywood? Right now, The Last Jedi, which is kind of a big event. The Star Wars Last Jedi just came out about a week or so ago. It's a huge movie, and it is quite possibly one of the most divisive movies that have come out as of recent. And I've been relatively quiet about how I felt about this movie, because you got just the extreme left and extreme right of like, I love this movie. This is like the best thing ever. It's the best one since Empire Strikes Back. And then you have the opposite side of where they're saying, well, this movie is the worst piece of crap that ever existed. It should be removed from the canon. We're gonna petition that has like 40,000 signatures so far. This person be strung up and hung and all that stuff. So you got two wildly different, and there's rarely something. Very few people are straddling that middle where it's like, oh, it's okay, it's alright, whatever. And it seems to be like either really diehard fans hate the movie, or you have really diehard fans that love the movie, and then everybody else who's not really a fan like loves this movie because they really have nothing to base it on. So it's a really divisive movie between like the fans. If you want to cut it down to its core, it's the fans. And I'm a fan. Like, I mean, I follow the movies, I follow the shows, I've read a few of the books. So I can sit here and tell you, like, when we went into the start of this new trilogy of movies, the modern trilogy, starting with The Force Awakens, I was a little sort of like, I loved it. It was good. It was like a fan letter to it was a letter, like a fanfare letter to the fans. It was like, here's all the stuff you love about Star Wars, wrapped in this nostalgic, 2 hour and change extravaganza, right? And that was lovely. People, for the most part, welcomed it, loved it, and everything. And then now you have this new movie that came out, and it just doubled down. It doubles down on uh doubles down on the storylines. It's kind of hard to explain what they did here because it's all the same people you know, it's all the same people you love from the first movie, but they took the storylines and they kind of they made a hard left. They kind of like discarded with a lot of the stuff that was set up in the previous movie and the ones that they were forced to keep because it would have thrown the movie out of continuity. Um, it was just like, oh well, these people. This is where these people were when we last saw them, but it really doesn't matter what they were doing because we're gonna go this way, and that's what they kind of did with this movie. They didn't. They didn't explore the questions that you had from if you saw The Force Awakens. They didn't explore that. I don't want to spoil anything, but that's pretty much where this movie went. It went in the direction that you thought it was gonna go, right? Because it was established in the last movie, and then when it gets there, it makes a hard left, and then it jukes right, like it just takes you all over the place, and then what you're left with is answers. Unsatisfied and unsatisfied answers is the best way I can say it. It's like you got an answer for certain things, but it's not what you wanted to hear. And then the stuff that you were hoping to get answers for, they completely said, no, we're not going to give it to you. We're going to toss this away, and left you kind of like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're invested from the first movie. So it feels like a reset. Like if you wanted to say, well, The Force Awakens was like a prequel movie, but this is the start. This will feel like a start of a whole new trilogy, which is kind of jarring because this is supposed to be the second movie of this planned trilogy. So it's so weird what this movie is doing to people because, like it just totally annihilated people's expectations. And I guess in a good way, that's the way to do it, right? Because you want to, get the people talking about it. And the people who didn't see it are going to listen to these conversations and go and watch the movie. If you feel like you really need a background about what happened to get to know these people, you really don't. But beyond that, the movie is done beautifully. I mean, besides the things that I would have done or not done, maybe I'll talk about it more on the other podcasts. But for the most part, like I think that I would have done things so much differently for certain scenes, and then some scenes I would have kept it exactly the way it was. It was some really beautiful moments in this movie, like even the ones that people like hated. There was a scene where people hated it involved Princess Leia, and I thought it was freaking amazing because knowing what I know about Star Wars and its characters and its histories and what the Sith can do and what the Jedi can do and all these extended characters, you kind of want to see that in the movies that you never really get to have. You'll see it in the extended, like if you watch the Clone Wars, you can see just how far these Jedi powers can go, in the comic books and in the novels, the novelizations, you get to see or read how these powers and how wild they can be, how far they can go. And of course, when Disney took over, a lot of that stuff, a lot of the extended universe stuff became non-canon. It wasn't part of the universe anymore. It was just stories now. But even still, you could still write those in. I mean, like, you can't just ignore, decades upon decades of a built universe. Characters that extends beyond the Skywalkers. Extend beyond your Han Solo and your Boba Fett's and all that stuff. There's so many characters. So you got this movie that dares to dream big, and that's exactly what it did. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of juggling going on with storylines. There was a lot of sort of meandering around certain plot devices, and some of them that just was not necessary at all. But even with those, there was always something that made it special. Like it's weird. Even there's like three major plot devices happening in this movie, and one of them that involves Finn and this other character was one that I felt was almost completely unnecessary. They could have wrote something better, but it felt like they had to write something because this is an established character. He is the new next generation of characters that's gonna lead this series later on. So they can't just not do anything with him, even though if they didn't do anything with him and they kept it limited, probably would have worked out better for him. But they explored this plot device in the film to make him do things, and it was completely unnecessary. It was interesting how that all went to be, and I'm trying to remain spoiler free here, but it's difficult. So, but think about it this way: if I send you to the store, and I say, get me a ham and cheese sandwich with mayo and the works, right? And get me a Pepsi. And you come back with a tuna sandwich and an orange juice. That is exactly, and you go, what the fuck? That's exactly what happens in this movie. They send Finn out to get a ham and cheese sandwich, and he comes back with tuna. and that's what I'm saying. That's my spoilerist free sort of description about what happened. So I'm sitting there beside myself. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how do you do that? How do you bait and switch that way? And it's not really a bait and switch because they send him out to do something, but he completely fails that mission. And even though he comes back, he doesn't come back empty-handed. He might as well have, you know. So let me take a swig. I'm enjoying a cerveza while having this conversation with y'all. So here it is. You have a plot device that's entered into this movie that takes up a considerable chunk of time. And if you would eliminate that, you would have saved about 30 minutes off a movie that was running a little long in the tooth by the time you got to the end. Because even the main plot of this movie seemed like an idea that they tried to stretch for 2 hours, and they said, all right, here's this idea, but we got to make it last for the length of a movie. So how do we do that? Well, we'll have some dialogue here. We'll send these people to do this. But this problem is still not resolved yet. But we'll throw these characters, and then we got Rey with Luke on another planet, and they stretch that out, and it's just like, if you're writing as a writer, you're going in and you're creating these basically branches off of a main plot, and you say, all right, like, how long do you expect the people to be planted in their seats before they starting to feel fidgety, like they're being there too long? And when you have a plot device that moves at pretty much a snail's pace, because that's what it feels like. It feels like it moves at a snail's pace. You know what I'm saying? Then you got yourself a problem, because you could have told the same story within like 40 minutes of that movie, just so you can propel them to the next part. Like, it's kind of hard to explain in the sense where you can get more accomplished if you would have just shortened a lot of those little dialogues and stuff like that. If you trim the fat and get to the meat of what it is, people walk out of there saying a lot happened. And a lot did happen, but it was so, like I said, bloated. It was so stretched out. And that's no detriment to the acting and to the storyline as far as like how they delivered it, and what you were feeling at certain moments. But like, this is a dance. Writing is a dance, and momentum and everything is it all plays a part. You know, you need the plot to move. You need the part to speed up and slow down, and twirl and zig and zag and do all these things, and that's what makes it a thrilling experience. You know, and this movie has that. It has it, but there's some things that it takes too long to get there. Like I said, there's a scene with Laura Dern's character that was just absolutely phenomenal, and the scene with Leia, amazing, amazing, and then the whole thing with Luke and Rey, that was fantastic. I mean, they're the way he views the Force and all that stuff, like for me, he was like the best thing of that movie. He really like hit a home run with this. Like, the way you can see him, that he's a not, I won't say bitter, but he's sort of like off put by the whole like Jedi thing. That's where we find him. He's not some wise Jedi just kind of being one with the Force. No, he's angry. He's upset. He's off put by all of it. And that's why he went into exile. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not really spoiling anything because you got that from the commercials. So that's where we leave Luke Skywalker. Well, that's where we start with Luke Skywalker in this. So, yeah, I mean, it's worth it for anyone to go there and watch it. Like, I talked to one person that I know who told me that they fell asleep on the movie. Like, he was like, I fell asleep. It just didn't grab him. Then I talked to somebody else who told me they were awake for the entire thing and they can barely, barely take their eyes off of it. Me, I went in there and I had some moments where I felt a little fidgety, but for the most part I was engaged, and there was a lot of times where I didn't blink. And because I didn't blink, my eye got irritated and it was all watery and whatnot, and it seemed like I was crying, but I wasn't crying. So that's where I am. I'm kind of like in that group, that middle group, that liked the movie, but I would have done things differently. I mean, I like some of the twists and turns that they were brought in, like Rian Johnson, hell of a director. He wrote and directed this, and he also did Looper, and he's done I think another one called Brick. He's done some really well received movies, and he's been known to do that. But you think it's gonna go one way, and then it goes a completely different way, and that's great. That's fantastic. You need that sort of refreshness in a Star Wars movie, but you don't. I'm in agreement with some of the hardcore fans that are angry at this, because you don't take something that's already established, or plot devices that are set up, and then you ignore them. It's almost like you wanted to restart the trilogy. Well, if that was the intention, then this trilogy is going to be 4 movies instead of 3. And that's going to be some really weird stuff. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen from here, because J.J. Abrams recorded the first one. He wrote and directed the first one, right? Rian Johnson came in for this one. And now J.J. Abrams is doing the final part, right? So, and by the time this movie released, he was already pitching his idea to Disney about what the last installment is going to be. So, I don't know where the hell this thing is going to go. Nobody knows. That's part of the excitement, though. That's part of, like, you wonder where it's going to go now. And credit to the new young cast, John Boyega and Daisy Ridley and even Adam Driver. They bring their A game to this. They are on par with the legacy characters. So, like, they need to take the reins, and they did with this movie. It's about them. It's not about. It's not. all about Luke, and it's not all about Leia, and it's not about Han or Chewie. They get their screen time, sure, but it's about the new people. So with that, going into the next movie, it's got to be about them, especially now. So I don't know what's gonna happen. And then Disney goes around and turns around and gives a whole new trilogy of Star Wars to Rian Johnson. They was that confident and that sure about the work he did on Last Jedi that he's gonna kick off an entire new trilogy, if not do all of them. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, he's a self-proclaimed mega fan of the Star Wars franchise, ever was and always will be. So let's see what he does with it. I mean, we got a glimpse of it with this installment. So let's see what's going on. But we're gonna have to wait 2 years, 2019, for the final installment. Because 2018 we're gonna get the Han Solo movie. So it's gonna take some time. But yeah, that was me. I kind of wanted to talk about that. I went extra long on the podcast, like I normally do. I always say that I'm gonna keep it short, but I never do. I always go over 20 minutes. But no, I needed to do this the way it was. So yeah, I hope based on what I told you today, you will check out this movie. It deserves all the money. That way we keep getting more awesome things from them in the future. So, yeah, go check out Star Wars if you haven't already seen it. I would like to do a spoiler-tastic thing, but enough time has gone by that the spoilers are all out there. So you can go to any podcast and watch it. I would say come to mine, but I ain't that freaking greedy. But, and I always fly at the hip anyway. I'll talk about whatever. But yeah, I would say go. Check it out. See it twice. Because once may not be enough. Once, you'll watch it once and see it for what, you'll get it and you're like, all right, this is what happens. But now that you have time to think about it, process it, you can go back and watch it and kind of see the nuances. And that's where I'm at. I got to go back and watch it one more time. Get the nuances of the film and see where it stacks up against my initial impression. So that's it. Thank you for coming to visit me on One-to-One, the mini podcast project. I like doing this every week, so I will be doing it every week. Visit me on Instagram and Twitter at Tone and Stereo. Visit my Facebook page, Art Graphics Inc. Visit my website, artgraphicsinc.com, and shoot me an email on anthony.cruz@artgraphicsinc.com. All right, you got that? anthony.cruz@artgraphicsinc.com. Talk to me. I'm pretty good at responding for all the 2 or 3 listeners that I have. and yeah, that's it. So I'll see you next time, all right? Peace.